Hello and welcome to part 4 of the Kaleidoscope blanket by Bligh. With part 4, we are going to be doing triangles 3A and 3B. They're exactly the same in construction, we're just using different colors on them, okay? So I thought I would go over the color codes before we start. You're going to make 12 of each of these, and in the pattern she has 6 colors listed. Color C, the first one, is going to be the background on your first triangle, on triangle 3A. Color J, the second color listed, is going to be your top and bottom overlay on 3A. And color L, the third color listed, is going to be the middle overlay on 3A. Color E, the fifth color listed, is the background color on triangle 3B. Color K, the very last color listed, is going to be the top and bottom overlay, with color L being the middle overlay. So you can see middle L, or color L, is going to be the same on both of the triangles 3A and 3B. So again, they're constructed in the same way, just different colors, and you're going to make 12 of each one. Okay, so for row 1, and again, it's the same as for our last triangles. You're going to chain 4, and you're going to do a double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. Okay, so this is what row 1 should look like. And moving on to row 2, we're going to turn and chain 3. Now we're going to do a double crochet into the same stitch, or the stitch at the very bottom of your chain 3. Okay, now we're going to do 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Okay, so the next stitch over, I'm going to do 1 double crochet and then another one into the same stitch. Again, this is the same as in the triangle from parts 2 and 3. Okay, for row 3, we're going to turn, chain 3, do a double crochet into the same stitch at the base of the chain 3, do a double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And then do 2 double crochets into this last stitch. So kind of have to force it through there. Here is 1 and 2. Okay, so moving along with row 4, I'm going to turn, add in my color 2, just going to lay it over the top. Okay, chain 1 and do a single crochet in the same stitch. Finish it up with a color change, and now we're going to do our first front post double crochet. We're going to do it in the second double crochet from row 2. Okay, oops, I got hung up there. So I'm going to wind my yarn twice, go front to back behind that double crochet, go through 2 loops, 2 loops, and then the very last 2 loops I'm going to go back to color 1. We're going to skip a stitch and single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. In that last single crochet, I'm going to do a color change so that I can do another front post double crochet in the 3rd double crochet on row 2. So we're going to go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops. On the last 2 loops, switch back to color 1, skip 1 stitch, and do a single crochet into the last stitch. This is what we should have at the end of row 4. For row 5, Catherine gives us a note that we don't need to carry color 2 along the row. We can just leave it hanging. So I'm going to turn, do a chain 1, do 2 single crochets into the same stitch, do a single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches across, and then finish up with 2 single crochets in the last stitch. So let me see if I can get it through there. There's 1 and 2. Okay, for row 6, we're going to turn, chain 3, do a double crochet into that same stitch, and a double crochet into the next stitch. We're going to skip 1 stitch from row 5 and double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, chain 2, double crochet into the next stitch from row 5, skip another stitch from row 5, do a double crochet. Now on this next double crochet, we're going to pick up color 2. Okay, so I'm going to kind of bring it up and lay it up there, and when I do my double crochet in this last stitch, I'm going to catch it, and then the very last double crochet that's in that same stitch, you don't have to catch it up in. Okay, so this is what it should look like at the end of row 6. You're going to have 2 skipped stitches from row 5 and a chain 2 in the middle, and if we look at the back of it, we've caught up our color 2 in this second to the last double crochet. Okay, so moving on to row 7, we're going to turn, do a single chain. We are going to use color 2 on this row, so I'm going to bring it in front of me kind of along the top. We're going to do a single crochet in the very first stitch, a single crochet in the second stitch, and on the single crochet in the next stitch, we're going to finish it with a color change. Okay, now we're going to do the first of our backwards popcorn. You're going to do it in the skipped stitch down here that's in the space directly below. Okay, so I'm going to wind up, go behind the motif, come through the hole and go through that stitch. I'm going to bend it forward and then hold tight right there so that we can get the rest of our double crochets in there. Okay, so here's the first double crochet, and now I'm going to do 4 more. And on the last one, I'm going to do a color change. Okay, then drop that stitch, go back through the very first double crochet, pick up the loop and pull it through. Okay, so this is what we should have so far. Then we're going to do a single crochet into that chain 2 space along the top. Okay, don't forget to bring your color 2 kind of in front of you. along the top. So here's one, and we're going to do another single crochet into that chain 2 space and finish with color 2. Okay, now we're going to do our second backwards popcorn. Again, we're going to do it into that skipped stitch from, I believe it was row 5. So I'm going to yarn over, go back behind motif, come through the hole, and then go into that stitch and bend my motif forward, finish my double crochet, and do 4 more into the same stitch. So here's 3, 4, and 5. Now remember to finish your 5th one with color number 1. Pull up your loop, drop it off of your hook, go into the top of the very first double crochet of the popcorn, pick up the loop, and pull it through. Okay, now that's our second backwards popcorn. Bring color 2 kind of back over to the front side over here, and we're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch. Oops, sorry about that. A single crochet into the next one, and then a single crochet into the very last stitch. Okay, so this is the end of row 7. This is what the back looks like, and this is what the front looks like. Okay? Okay, for row 8, we're going to turn to the front, do a chain 1, and do a single crochet into the same stitch. We're going to finish this single crochet with a color change to color 2. Now we're going to do a front post double treble crochet around the front post treble crochet that is down below. So to do that, we're going to yarn over 3 times. So have 3 loops, go around behind the post and pull up a yarn, go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops, and go through 2 loops again. With the last 2 loops, switch back to color 1, skip 1 stitch from row 7 and do a single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, now we're going to complete it with a color change back to color 2 again. Now we're going to do a front post treble crochet. So if you look right here between the 2 popcorns that we did from row 7, you see that there is a double crochet right here and a double crochet right here. This one's kind of hiding, but I can kind of pull it to the front with my hook. So there's one here and one here. And we're going to do a front post treble crochet going this way around this double crochet first, and then in a second we're going to do one through the other one. Okay, so right now I'm going to do a front post treble. So I'm going to yarn over twice. I'm going to go through this double crochet right here next to the left side popcorn and yarn up, go through 2 loops twice, and finish with a color change back to color 1. Okay, we're going to skip a stitch, which is the popcorn, the top of this popcorn, and we're going to do a single crochet into these top 2 middle stitches. Do a single crochet in each one of those. At the end of the second one, switch back to color 2, Now we're going to do another front post treble crochet in that other double crochet down there, okay? So you're kind of going to dig it under that popcorn on the right, pull it up. Whoops, I didn't yarn over enough times, I don't think. Let me do that one more time. Okay, so yarn over twice. On the right popcorn, go into that double crochet, go around it and under it, go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops. Okay, switch back to color number 1. We're going to skip the stitch that is the top of the popcorn and do a single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, but again, we're going to finish it with a color change. We're going to do a front post double treble crochet into the front post treble crochet directly below. Okay, so I'm going to yarn over 1, 2, and 3 times and go around and under, go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops again, and finish it out with a color change back to color 1, and then do a single crochet in the last stitch. Okay, so at this point we can go ahead and cut off or break off our color number 2, and we're done with it for now. I'm going to go ahead and bring out color number 3 and lay it out here because we're going to use it in a couple of rows. Okay, so moving on to row 9, I'm going to turn, chain 1, do 2 single crochets into the first stitch or the same stitch, and a single crochet into each stitch across. So here's 1, 2, oops, I got hair. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 single crochets across the middle, and in the very last stitch we're going to finish with 2 single crochets in the same last stitch. Okay, so that is row 9. Turn for row 10, single chain 3 chains. Okay, now this time we're going to double crochet not in the same stitch but the next stitch over, 1 stitch over. Okay, now we're going to chain 1 and skip 1 stitch from row 9. Okay, so double crochet into the next one. So you'll see what we formed is kind of a hole where we have a chain 1 at the top and a skipped chain at the bottom. Okay, we're going to double chain in the next 5 stitches for a total of 6 double crochets across the middle. I hope I said double crochets on that. I might have said double chains. I have a bad habit of saying the wrong thing, so I apologize. So there's 4, 5, and 6. Now again we're going to chain 1, skip 1 stitch at the bottom, and do a double crochet into the next and last stitches. Okay, so this is what it should look like at the end of row 10. We have 2 double crochet posts on each end with a hole and 6 double crochets across the middle. Now we're going to turn for row 11 and pick up color number 3. Okay, I'm going to lay it kind of across the top. Since we're looking at the back of it now, we want our carry color to be in front of us now. So the first thing I'm going to do is a chain 1 and then a single chain or single crochet into the first stitch and single crochet into the next stitch and complete it with color number 3. Okay? Now we're going to do a backwards popcorn into that skipped stitch down there directly below. So we're going to yarn over, go back behind, come up through the hole, and go through that skipped stitch at the bottom. Bend your motif forward and then hold it tight, and we can complete that double crochet and do 4 more into that same stitch. Here's 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to finish the 5th one with color number 1. Okay? Pull up a loop and kind of make it bigger. We're going to come back over here into the top of the very first double crochet, pick up that loop and pull it back through. Okay? Now we are going to do a single crochet into each of these next 6 stitches in the middle. Okay? And remember to hold color number 3 kind of in front of you right here, because we're looking at the back of it. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Whoops, lost that last one. 6, and complete that last one with the color change back to color 3. Now we're going to do another backwards popcorn into the skipped stitch directly below. So yarn over, go back behind the motif, come through the hole and go into that stitch. Okay? Complete the double crochet and do 4 more into the same stitch. Okay, on the 5th one, change back to color number 1, finish it up, pull that loop up a little bit, go into the top of the very first double crochet, pick up that loop and pull it through. Okay? We're going to finish this row with a single crochet in the top of each of these last 2 double crochets from the last row. Okay, so kind of got to pull that color number 3 down. He's going to want to stay on the front. Okay, and then here we go. Okay, so this is the back at the end of row 11, and then here is the front at the end of row 11. Okay. Now to begin row 11, we're going to do a chain 1. I'm sorry, we're going to do, this is row 12. We're going to do a chain 1. We're going to single crochet into the first stitch and switch to color 3 at the end of that single crochet. Now on this row, we're going to do a front post double treble into the front post double treble directly below. Okay, so I've yarned over 3 times, go back under it, pull it over. I'm going to go through 2 loops, go through 2 and go through 2 again. Okay, I'm going to finish it with a color change, if I can find my color 1. Okay, and then we are going to skip 1 stitch and do a single crochet into the next stitch. This happens to be the top of that popcorn right there, if that helps you. Okay, Finish that single crochet with a yarn color change to color 3 again. Now we're going to do another front post double treble. We're going to go down here into this front post treble crochet that we did earlier. So I'm going to yarn over 3 times, go down here and just go under it and yarn over and pull up. Go through your 2 loops 3 times, and on that last one, complete a color change back to color 1. We are going to skip a stitch again and do a single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, finish it up with a color change back to color number 3, and now we're going to do another cross with a front post treble crochet. So if you look down here below these 2 popcorns, you'll see that we had 6 double crochets going across here. We're going to pick those 2 middle ones. Okay, so I'm going to do yarn over twice, and I'm going to go into the 3rd double crochet over from the popcorn on the left. Okay, so find your popcorn, there's 1 double crochet, 2 and 3. Okay, so we're going to do a front post around it, yarn over, pull through 2 loops twice. Actually, go ahead and finish this one. And now we're going to do another front post treble crochet with the double crochet on right next to it on the right, to the right side of it. Okay, so a front post treble crochet is 2 yarn overs, go into the double crochet directly to the right of it, yarn over, go through 2 loops twice. Now this one we do want to switch back to color 1. Okay, we're going to skip 2 stitches and do a single crochet into the next one. Finish it with a color change back to color number 3. Okay, now this time we're going to do our front post treble crochet into the left side of this X from below. Okay, so we're going to yarn over 3 times with this one, go into that stitch around it, and then yarn over and then pull through 2 loops 3 times, and on that last one complete a color change. Skip 1 stitch from the last row, and we're going to go a single crochet into the next one. Now this happens to be the top of the popcorn stitch, if that kind of helps you figure out your placement. Okay, now complete a color change back to color number 3. Now we're going to do our front post double treble that runs along the left side of our motif. So yarn over 3 times, go back and under it, get all these other yarns out of the way, pull through 2 loops 3 times, complete a color change at the end of it, and then complete this row with a single crochet in the very last stitch. So what we end up with at the end of row 12 is our front post double treble on each side of the triangle, our front post double trebles that complete our X down here that we started, and then we started another X in the middle. Okay, so you should have color 1, color 3, color 1, color 3, color 1, 2 color 3s, and then alternate back ending with color 1. Okay, this is what you'll have at the end of row 12. You can go ahead and break off color number 3 now, and And let's move right on to row 13. We're going to turn, chain 1, and do 2 single crochets into the same stitch, and a single crochet into each stitch across. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and complete my single crochets across the top. Whoops. I hope I'm not the only one that has a lot of whoops moments when I'm crocheting. And then on the very last stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Okay, so here's 1 and 2. Okay, so this is the back at the end of row 13. Now moving on to row 14, we're going to turn, single chain 3. Sorry, got a hair in there. And then a double crochet into the same stitch, which is the base of that chain 3, and a double crochet into each stitch across. I have to say, I think this is my favorite triangle that we've done so far. I love the way it looks, and I love the thickness of the motif when we're done with it. I think it's just amazing that Catherine created something like this, and I'm really appreciative that she puts it out there for all of us to be able to do and to create something beautiful. When you get close to the end, we're going to do 2 double crochets into the last stitch. Okay, so a double crochet in each stitch across with 2 double crochets in the last stitch. This is row 14. Now moving on to row 15, we're going to chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch across. Okay, each stitch gets 1 single crochet. Oops. Whoops. Another whoops moment. Oh. Okay, so this is the end of row 15 from the back and row 15 from the front. Okay, so row 16, we are going to be bringing color number 2 back in. So I'm going to lay it over the top of my color 1 back here. If I can get everything situated. We're going to start with a chain 1 and a single crochet into the first stitch. Complete that single crochet with a color change to color number 2. Now all of the front post stitches on this row are going to be double trebles. Okay, so we're going to do a double treble. We're going to be extending each of these front post stitches from down below. Okay, so I'm going to yarn over 3 times, pick up that post stitch directly down below, and pull through 2 loops 3 times. Complete a color change back to color number 1, skip 1 stitch, and do a single crochet into the next stitch. Complete a color change to color number 2, do another double treble front post crochet into this one that's directly below, pull through 2 loops 3 times, complete a color change at the end of it, skip a stitch directly down below and do a single crochet into the next stitch, do a single crochet into the next one, and complete a color change at the end of that one. Okay? Now we're going to do a double treble. We're going to take this post down below and extend it up. So yarn over 3 times, go around the post, pull through 2 loops 3 times, and complete a color change. Now with this one, you are not going to skip a stitch behind it. Okay, so do not skip a stitch behind this one. Do a single crochet in that one, the next one, and then the very next one, you're going to complete a color change at the end of that single crochet. Okay, now we're going to do another double treble where we extend up this cross that we started down below. So I'm going to go under it, yarn over, and go through 2 loops 3 times, and complete a color change. You are going to skip a stitch behind this post and do a single crochet into the next one, do a single crochet into the next stitch, and complete a color change. Okay, do a double treble front post into the post down directly down below. Okay, complete a color change at the end of it, skip 1 stitch and single crochet into the next one, complete another color change, and we're going to do our last double treble front post crochet down here into the post stitch that's directly down below. Okay, complete a color change at the end of it, skip 1 stitch from down below, and single crochet into that very last stitch. Okay, so let's go over this. I think it helps when you're doing these if you can visualize what you're doing. So we have our front post stitches that run along the right side. Then we have another V-shaped that runs up the middle, and then one more that runs through here in the very center. So we have color 1, color 2, color 1, color 2, 2 stitches of color 1, color 2, 3 stitches of color 1, color 2, 2 stitches of color 1, and then they alternate singly through to the end. Okay, so that is row 16. You can break off color number 2, and moving on to row 17, you're going to chain 1 and then do 2 single crochets into that same stitch and a single crochet into each stitch across. Okay. And move along. In the very last stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochets into that same stitch. Okay, then you can cut your yarn and end that last one, and this is what we end up with. My favorite triangle that we've done so far. I really love the colors. I do have to, I don't know if it's just the way I crochet, my popcorns like to lay over towards the right, so I kind of have to push them back up a little bit so that I can tuck in my post stitches. But it's really beautiful, and I hope you guys enjoy this part, and I hope the video helps. Have fun with part 4, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks for part 5.